Okay, so in this video, we're going to pick up where we left off in our intro, which is installing Server 2012. In this particular environment, I'm actually in a clustered environment already set up, so this is my test environment. Not going to go through and configure all of those things to show you that, but I will go through and show you how to install Windows here. And in this environment, I'm actually in a Hyper-V environment, so this is going to be a virtual machine. So in this example, we're going to go through, we're going to use a ISO file to actually do the installation. So this is going to be equivalent to a CD-ROM disk. So for here, we're going to go ahead and click through these items, and I'll explain some along the way. So we're going to say next here, and we're going to give the VM a name. So this server is going to be called DrewTest3, and we're going to store it in this location here. By default, there will be a location here, and you'll see this if we go through a Hyper-V tutorial, which I'll actually put one of those together, and we'll go through that as well throughout this video series. It's going to be another one of the items in the multi-video series as we're going through. So we're going to click Next here, and we have our two generations. This is going to be a generation 2. This way we can take advantage of some of the features as it mentions here for 2012 64-bit edition. This also lets us take advantage of iSCSI booting, being able to adjust memory on the fly, being able to add hard disk on the fly if we need to without having to shut the servers down. So we'll go ahead and choose this version here and choose next, and you can read more about that if you like, any of the Microsoft help sections. This particular server, I'm going to give it 4 gigs of RAM. As I was mentioning before, if we would have chose the generation 1, we wouldn't have the advantage of, we wouldn't be able to take the advantage of dynamic memory. So we're going to go ahead and click next here. And dynamic memory means that we can adjust it on the fly. So we can set a given memory amount, and the server will use that on the fly, versus if we specify just 4 gigs of RAM, the most we can ever get to is 4 gigs of RAM. And there's other configurations that go into this. So if this was a database server, we could actually give this server, let's just say 200 gigs of RAM, and we could set a priority on it. So anytime we wanted to use 200 gigs of RAM, we would start off at 4 gigs, but we could go up to 200 gigs of RAM and then ramp back down to 4 gigs. And we would have priority over that memory versus any of the other servers that might be on this network. Okay, so we're going to leave it at 4 gigs here, and we're going to select a network adapter. I have several network adapters on this particular host, so I'm just going to select the first one here in the list. Choose next, and then it asks us the name of our file, where it's going to be stored at. We've already specified this at the beginning, and how big the hard drive is going to be. We're going to say 40 gigs in size. And if we had an existing image that we were going to use, which we would call a gold image, we would do that here. Otherwise, we can attach the file later. So this would actually, we would go to the end and hit finish, and we would have a blank VM that wouldn't start, and then from there we'll go into settings, and then we will attach the hard disk later. So this would be more of a recovery situation is what we would do this particular option here. So from here we're going to go ahead and choose next here. Ask us where we're going to get our ISO file from. Since I already have one, I have a location for it, and now we're going to go ahead and click finish. So we'll select here and select finish, and we'll be right back when this is done. Okay, now that our virtual machine has finished building, we have this pop up now. We can go ahead and power it on. So we'll go ahead and start the virtual machine. As you can see here, it's going through now, trying to boot. Well, we have to boot from our CD, so we will go ahead and do a reset so we can get to there. So now we're booting from our CD, and so we will actually go through the process of selecting the options for installing Windows here. So the first screen we come to is asking us English version, which language we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and select next here. And if we're repairing the server, we would select repair your computer. We'll go ahead and say install now. And this is going to go through, and it's going to go through and start setting up Windows. This will take about maybe 10, 15 minutes or so once we get through all the options. So you can see here, we're not going to go over the core installation. As I was saying earlier, this is just a command line version of it. It's going to be using PowerShell mainly. So for this install, we're actually going to be using the Data Center edition here, and you're going to be using the GUI here. And you can see here, here's the core version here again. I'm going to go ahead and select next here. And we're going to go ahead and select the, we agree to the EULA. And for this, we're not going to be doing an upgrade. We're going to be doing a custom Windows install. Here is the hard drive we specified when we were going through the setup. So for here, we're going to go ahead and select new. And if we wanted to specify any type of size, let's say we wanted to make 2 partitions out of this, we would actually do that here. So we'll go ahead and select cancel and click next. So this will go through the installation of installing Windows now. So you can see here, it's going to take about 20 minutes or so. So we'll resume as soon as this is done, and we'll pick up from here where we left off. Okay, our installation has completed. Now we'll go ahead and provide our password. By default, the administrator account on this server will be used. Okay, now that that's done, we'll go ahead and select finish. And that will finalize our installation. After this, we'll get another restart, and it comes up here to the screen here. And we'll go ahead and do Control-Alt-Delete to log in, type in our new password. Okay, that is the installation fully installed of Server 2012. And in our next video, we will go over the features and new things within 2012. Thanks for watching.